St. Simon's Island, known as one of the Golden Isles off the Atlantic coast, is famous for its salt marshes, sandy beaches, and southern hospitality. Living beyond the grave, stories of the past survive through the Gullah Geechee descendants. Taking a deeper look at this beautiful island and its people reveals a rich and deep history that collides with the present. Retreat Cemetery, located on Retreat Plantation, became the final resting place of the enslaved people that labored there. But the rest of this hallowed ground was purchased in the 1920s to be repurposed into an exclusive golf club with rolling hills and lush grass. The history of the people who toiled on the land was now pushed into the background to be forgotten, like their graves that sit adjacent to the course under a canopy of trees. Their stories reveal a tale of the financially rich dispelling the culturally rich. Their stories are interwoven as slave and master, but diverge in death as they did in life. One such story is that of Neptune Small. Enslaved on Retreat Plantation, manservant of Henry Lord Page King, Small followed King into service with the Confederate Army. When King was killed at the Battle of Fredericksburg in 1862, Small risked his own safety to retrieve the body of King and eventually brought him back to Savannah. After the war, Henry King was laid to rest with members of his family at Christ Church Episcopal at the north end of St. Simon's Island. Following his death in 1907, Neptune Small was buried at Retreat Cemetery at the south end of the island amongst his family and kinspeople. Local historian Amy Roberts shares stories of her past, stories that begin and end with her ancestors, some of whom were enslaved at Retreat and were eventually buried in Retreat Cemetery.
My father, my two uncles, my two aunts, my sister, and two sisters, and extended family like Papa Charlie and the Bernard family, and we can say the Shepherd family, and there's a few of the Cummins family, and it's just a whole bunch of people.
This will also be the place that Amy will be laid to rest. Amy also shared the story of Ebo Landing and the people who chose freedom in the waters of St. Simon's Island. Although not thought of as a typical cemetery, Dunbar Creek became the final resting place of the Igbo people who were taken from Africa's coast and brought to St. Simon's. Rather than to submit to slavery, these brave souls walked, chained together, into their watery graves.